Cacao, why are you touching? What are you doing?
More work. Since it runs and drives, sir, he gets a chirp for it.
Alright, welcome back to yet another episode of Car Cane Rehab. Last episode, we got this thing running for the first time in 10 years.
Oh my gosh, is this about to happen?
It's happening.
Oh my god. It's alive!
I'm still pretty stoked about that because this has been one of those like things that's just been bothering me for years. And then all of you DM me and leave comments below talking about why haven't I finished this yet? So anyway, we got it running, but that's obviously just step one. Step two is to actually get it driving, get it back out on the road, drive it a little bit. And then step three is to actually make it fast and scary because that's why we build fun cars. But let's get through step one first and then step two and next piece. It runs, but it doesn't drive yet. Brakes don't work. There's a bunch of things I need to run through. So let's go through what we're gonna do today, or this episode, I should say. As you can see, we went through this previously. You know, return to the road. Last episode, we started the engine. That was huge. Still need to sort brakes. Still need to do an alignment. Obviously, we'll then need to do a shakedown, drive it, and then start planning phase two. That's gonna be fun. You guys remember we did all this and that last week, so checked all those boxes. After we do the brakes, or at least bolt the brakes on, I gotta go through this list. The road to roadworthy. Bolt up the drive shaft. I noticed last week that it wasn't bolted. Reconnect the ABS system. I spoke to Greg, who sold me the fuel tank, and he said that he's running his Porsche brakes with the ABS and it works great. The cool thing about this car is there's actually a switch to turn off the ABS. I don't mind running it because it's cool for a daily, and then I can turn it off when I'm on track. Obviously bleed the brakes, bleed the clutch, because it's all one system, so I've lost all clutch pressure as well. I need to remove the handbrake cables. You can kind of see that those are hanging just underneath there. They're no longer connected to anything. I need to flush the cooling system. The hoses were already falling apart, so I gotta run through that. I need to get the car up to temp, just kind of run everything. Gonna probably seafoam the car. I don't even have that on here, but something I need to do. But I want to change the hoses. I've got some new nice silicone hoses that my friends over at 034 sent, so I want to get those set up. Probably should do a timing belt. I definitely need to do the accessory belts. You heard them squealing, they're completely dry rotted, but I probably should do a timing belt because even though I haven't put more miles on the car, just sitting, the rubber kind of falls apart and deteriorates, and the last thing I would want to do is snap a timing belt because this is an interference motor, which means I would bend all my valves. And then obviously the last thing always, I'll do yet again, one more spanner check. It's important that when the car is on the floor, you re-torque things because how a car sits in the sky isn't the best way to torque it. So go through and actually kind of loosen some things and re-torque it just so it sits right. Like I said, I had to do an alignment, so obviously you're gonna have to loosen a lot of things and then re-torque it then. I may have shown these to you guys earlier on. These are actually Porsche Cayenne rear forepots, and they're going to be replacing these. These are the stock units, and it's just, you can see, just a single pot, very simple. And the actual discs over here they're just a simple solid rear. And the thought was 10 years ago, I didn't really feel like I needed a big rear brake kit because I have a big front brake kit, and with an all-wheel drive car, you're doing a little bit of braking with your front wheels actually is helping you brake the rear wheels as well. Not always, but sometimes. So anyway, I got this brake kit because these just look cooler, looks a little more uniform. So yeah, maybe it's a little hot boy, but it also is better braking. Braking is really important so you can go faster because that way you can slow down faster. And then I've got these rotors, which are, they're a 300 mil rotor, and they're actually off the rear of a B7 Audi S4. So that's like a 2005 to 2008 model. And what makes that all come together is this piece, which is from my friends over at AK Motorsports. And basically this is an adapter that adapts this to where these used to mount. See? So this will mount to the actual spindle on there. And then these will mount to that. That should go together pretty smoothly. Then I've got some lines. I'm obviously missing a line. I just have one here, and I don't think this is gonna work with this setup, but these are the fronts. I'll have to build some new ones for the rears. These obviously are the same finish as my KW coilovers, so clearly these are all kind of for routing the brakes around the coilovers. First up, let's get the brakes mounted. essentially in. It's pretty simple. You can see a bracket back here, just mounts the caliper, connects to all the spindle. I'm gonna order some new brake pads. I think I may actually have some at home that'll work. Boom, suddenly got Porsche brakes at all 4 corners. These ones are a bit bigger. I forget the size, I'm pretty sure these are 330s. Maybe they're bigger, but I think these are 330s. And these are 300 mils. Some point, I'll get different discs. I want to do a lighter weight disc to remove a little rotational mass. A couple things like ECS make a 2-piece rotor. So the inside's actually aluminum, making it a bit lighter and just kind of a bolt-on outer ring, just like I've got up front alloy centerpiece, and then the actual rotor itself is steel. So I'll eventually upgrade to that, but right now, time to get the car on the road. I have to admit, I was really excited when it started the other day. A lot of people said I didn't seem that excited, but I think I was just kind of waiting for things to go horribly wrong. You know, it sounded like crap when it first started, but that clears up. It's just hydraulic lifters. They just need oil. The oil's there. They sound way better. On to bolting more things together, running the lines, and having a car that runs and drives. So I figured for shits and giggles, I would just mount the wheel real quickly to make sure that there was no interference, but I figured, you know, it fits the bigger brakes up front, so why wouldn't these fit? But yeah, those hit. An hour and a half from running. I don't know who said that. Wasn't me.
Best part about it is that it supposedly only needs like an hour and a half of work.
All right, so I thought it was gonna be easy. I thought I was just gonna put the brakes on, plumb them, and boom, I'd go from running car to driving car. Problem was once I put the calipers on, I realized that they don't actually allow for the wheels to fit, because I now have to space the wheels out 15 to 17 mil to get the wheels to clear the calipers, and that means that they hit the body right about here. So today I'm going to roll the fenders. Hopefully I can get them to roll far enough, and if I can, get the brakes mounted, try to plumb them, bleed a few other things, go through my checklist of stuff that I gotta do, and maybe actually drive the car out this hole right here. All right, so as you guys know, before I had 2 left feet, so got myself another brake caliper. Got some new lines made over at Earl's. So these are actually, the original lines I had were more of an American fitting. These are the Euro style fittings. As you can see, they have the right clips to match the way that the factory clips set up. They'll fit a little bit more like factory, which is what I want. My friends at Pegasus particularly pointed out to me that I did not put a filter at the bottom of my 044 pump. So they sent me one, which is very nice of them. Now I gotta pull that back out and put it in. And by the way, if you guys don't know Pegasus, it's the catalog for like all really good race stuff. If you need things like just different types of hardware and stuff. Like you ever wonder, like if you're gonna build a car and put in a little opening for like an intercooler, the mesh you wanna run, boom, something like that. I've been in the box I haven't even opened yet from KW, which should be my spacers, and that's what's gonna hopefully get the car driving today. Check out the revolutionary wheel space saver system. Thanks, Ken. These are the adapters. Hopefully with that and that, we can get that done. All right, so to roll the fender, I'm gonna start by just taking out the wheel liner. And of course, because it's an Audi, it's a mix of Phillips and also Torx bits, which is always fun. I'm gonna pull that out. You can see the cool thing about these fenders is they're actually kind of already rolled. So now what we're really doing is pulling them. So we wanna just pull this lip out. Hopefully they'll pull pretty smoothly because I don't have to sit here and worry about bending this in normally like you would on a regular fender and then also pulling it. But hopefully you do it without cracking too much paint. But the fact is, I will probably end up painting this car a different color. As much as the internet loves whether to argue if it's green or blue, obviously you guys can all tell it's blue because you're not colorblind. Probably gonna go like black, gray, or white because those are sort of my favorite color palette, as you can tell by my other cars. Let's clean this up and mount the roller, get started. Ryan, you want to jump on the bumper?
Solid.
Yeah, that clears. All right, so now that I know that fits well, right, that's gonna work out. I'm just gonna double check and make sure that that 17.5 spacer is enough for the brake to fit, and then I'll start working on the other side. You guys ready for a shameless plug? I found these in my toolbox. I think Kawa threw them in there for me. Pretty stoked. I think they're for sale on the website. All right, so I kind of skipped over this when we did the other side, which is the wheel spacers, because, you know, wheel spacers are wheel spacers, except these ones are actually kind of rad. Just kind of a standard 17.5 spacer, but what makes them cool are the hub-centric rings. So how it works, this, right, goes over this, and then the hub-centric wedges into your wheel. But what's really cool when I took this wheel off before and I realized is that it all just kind of becomes one unit. So instead of like having to deal with like getting your spacer on, lining that up, then putting your wheel on and like dealing with all of that, this all goes as one piece. Now that we got both the rear wheels to fit on both sides, I'm gonna work on plumbing the rear. I got some fittings made, I think that should work. And then plumb the front. After staring at this for too long, trying to figure out how best to plumb this to that, I figured out actually probably the best way is just to swap these left and right. I'd actually get it pointing up, which is what we want. So swap those around, plumb the rears, move to the fronts. So we've got it running now. So it goes from there down to the caliper. Just gonna fab a little mount. The factory mount points the wrong direction, so we're gonna fab a little mount that'll just go into there, hold this thing off a little bit, just make it a little bit cleaner. But for right now, that should work. Let's do the other side, move to the front. Here's a new tool that we got the other day from Eastwood. I think I'm gonna be the first person to use it. It's this amazing brake flare kit, because if you guys remember watching Knuckle Busters, we had a really crappy one that absolutely sucked. So we got this new one from Eastwood and give it a try today. Look, boom, vice mount via forklift. All right, let's see if we can make this work. All right, I'm pretty stoked that I actually made a brake line work for the first time ever. I will completely blame Eastwood for building a rather foolproof system as long as you follow the directions. Look at that thing, stoked. All right, that's one thing out of the way. By the way, new cat. We'll get you adopted like the other one. Since I'm actually using one line here instead of the two rubber lines into the hard line that is stock for Audi, I need to modify the original holder here, which was basically this piece sat here, held a hard line, and a soft line went into that hard line and then soft line to here. So what I'm gonna do, this is the actual original mount. So hard line went from here to here. So what I wanna do is run these rubber grommets on the stainless lines just so that they stay tucked away from anything dangerous. So I'm just gonna notch these here and here, here and here, so I can easily stick those in. Condor Speed Shop sent me these, and a really long stud conversion. Super rad, because now I can actually run the spacers on here, get enough thread. But I think now I've actually got everything I need. Done everything. I've gotten the book that I need to actually drive it. There's a few little things like I gotta change the coolant hose and stuff like that, but everything's tightened up. I've bled the brakes. I bled the clutch, although it feels like crap, but I bled the clutch. And I'm gonna try right now to see if it'll actually move under its own power and stop under its own power, potentially the first time in 10 years. Moment of truth. Uh-oh, we're moving. that's it. Officially runs, drives, stops, goes, all the things the car should do. I already bubbled it earlier today. I know that it'll keep temp. You like the hissing sound of that 044 back there. So that's it. This one's back on the road. I'm pretty stoked. This is rad. I haven't had this car in 10 years. Well, that's it. It runs and drives. Carcane rehab, one step at a time, one car at a time. Tomorrow, when it's like actually daylight, I'll take it for a test drive. That's a wrap!
Alright, so it's only taken about a couple hundred episodes and 2 million YouTube subscribers making fun of Brian, but it finally runs and drives. Wow.